Alright, YouTube, what's going on? We got a flashlight review today. We're looking at the BLF Budget Light Forum A6. This was pretty much designed by the Budget Light Forum guys and made by, I believe, Astrolux is the manufacturer on this particular one. I think there's a few different ones. I got this from Banggood. They sent this to me for review, and I'll put a link in the description where you can purchase it on Banggood. It's a very inexpensive light, but it packs a ton of power. Guys, it's pretty remarkable. So it can be two things. First of all, it's pretty small for an 18650. Let's compare it to, I think still the smallest with a tail switch is this Menker MC11. I haven't found anything smaller. Here's the Hextech HT18 I just reviewed. Let's back that up a little bit. And then the Black Scout Survival V3. That's got the bezel on it, so it's gonna be a little bit bigger. But it's a pretty small light. It does have a deep carry clip, which I like. It is a tail switch only, and there is no forward switch. And it uses an 18650. You cannot use a 2CR123s just because of the voltage on this one. And they do recommend like a Samsung Q, like a 30Q like this one, is a really high quality battery, and you want to use something like that in it. Now, this is the brightest single cell 18650 on the market right now, 1600 lumens, crazy. But you're only going to get 1600 lumens by using a battery like this and then a spring bypass mod that you have to do. Now, if you don't do the mod and you still use this battery, you're going to pull about 1400, which I still think is probably still the brightest, or one of the brightest. So, can be very good. This is definitely a modded, not a modded, but a flashlight enthusiast flashlight. It's not a typical, you know, basic flashlight. There's lots of things on this. Now, it can be, though. What's cool about this light is it can be basic. So, you can turn it on, you have a moonlight mode, and you soft press, and you cycle through all your modes, and you go back to moonlight. So it can be very simple. It can also be complicated in a way, because there's secret hidden modes in the flashlights. So, and I've had a hard time, you got group 1 mode and basically group 2. You also have some hidden modes while in group 1 you can get to called special modes, where you have strobe, a battery check mode, and a biker flash mode. And it can only be accessed from the moonlight. So I've got the moonlight on right now. And you have to long press for about 1.5 seconds. And see, what problem is, I always end up turning it off. So let's see if I can get it to work. Nope. So I got it to work just fine right before I started filming the video. And of course now I'm not going to. Should go right onto turbo, and it's not. So, and then you can go in reverse. You can go from high 1 to medium 1. Each long press will activate any of the 7 modes and go back to the mode it previously did. So, it can be like very complicated. Okay, there we go. We got it to finally work. So then it goes into turbo, and then you can do a long press. And it was supposed to go back into like a strobe mode, and it didn't. So it's kind of weird. For me, it's like okay, so there's the turbo mode again. Let me see if I can get this to work. Now see, it keeps going back to moonlight. It's strange. Yeah, I think it takes some practice and the right type of presses, because you don't want to, if you click it all the way, it's just going to turn the light on and off, and it goes right back to moonlight. If you give it a long press instead of a short press, like I am now, and it's not fully clicking, see, it doesn't always work. So for me, it's got tons of not customizable, but tons of hidden modes and options and stuff. And I like that if you're a big enthusiast and stuff. And I consider myself a flashlight enthusiast, but I guess I'm not to that level where I want to be able to like have 15 different freaking modes in there. I kind of like it just to work and to turn it on. And the nice thing is you can still do that with this light. And it's still compact, and it's still crazy bright. So we'll get some beam shots like we always do outside, inside as well, kind of just show you the color temperature on it. You can get it in multiple different color temperatures. You can get it in a 5000K, a 6500, a 4000. So you've got lots of different options. This is the, let's see if it says, just gives me the SKU. It's the 1A version, so I'm not sure what that means as far as how that relates. Okay, let's see if it says. So these are $21.95 on Banggood, very cheap. But what's the difference between the 1A, the, you know what I mean, the different modes? I'm not exactly sure. It doesn't even tell me. To me, this seems more... not like way cool, but a pretty cool white beam. Whereas, let's actually turn off these overhead lights so you can get a better idea. We'll keep one of them on. I gotta take... Give me the Maker is like one of my most neutral flashlights. Very neutral white. Just to give you a side-by-side comparison there of the color temperatures of the lights. The BLF A6 on the left and the Maker on the right. So definitely more cool light than the Maker, but that's very, very neutral. Almost too neutral. I like it, but it's almost a little too neutral for me. And then let's go to like this Hextech was pretty white, if I remember right. Very cool. So I'll have to look that up, and I'll put in the description, you know, which... Oh, look at that flickering. What the heck? That's weird. I haven't noticed that. Someone point out. Oh, no, it's still doing it. You don't see it, but when I look in the camera, that's interesting. Let's see if it does it in all the modes. It does. Look at that. That's interesting. Now it's not. Weird. But these are very similar color temperatures between these two. So I would say this is a more cool white, but you can get different variations of the BLF A6 and a different color variants. I should have asked for a more neutral, but I think when you're trying to hit that max brightness, which is kind of what this light is all about, how bright it can get for its size, you do want to kind of go with a cool white because it just looks quite a bit brighter. You can't really achieve the max lumens on these guys without stepping up to that cooler white LED. So you can get this knife on Bang. You can get this flashlight on Banggood. You can also get it on Amazon. We'll do some beam shots, some inside and outside beam shots, then we'll come back and wrap up the video. Alright, we're outside with the BLF A6. That's on the low, medium 2. I'm going to go to high. Call it high 2. And then there's that turbo mode. And then off. It's very quick to get through the modes. So look at that, on that turbo, that shed, just lights up the entire yard. It's not all the way dark yet, but you can see the moon out. Look at that tree. It's got a really wide hot spot. Really good all-purpose light. Not like a, I'm sure it's not a bad thrower. It definitely has some decent throw on it, but more of a balanced beam, I would say. Crazy bright. It lights up my whole backyard. All in 118-650. Pretty impressive. Alright guys, so wrapping up the video, you can see in the beam shots, a stinking crazy bright light for its size. I really like it. I like the tail switch. I kind of wish it had the forward switch as well and a monetary on, which it does not really have. You have to like fully press the switch for the light to come on. I like that it has a true moonlight in very low modes, and then it goes crazy high. But overall, very cool light for the money. 22 bucks on Banggood. Awesome. Their shipping was actually really fast to me, which is surprising because it was coming from overseas. I like the pocket clip, the knurling, the really nicely done threads on this. Really good knurling on it. Very well built flashlight. It feels like a much more premium light than a $26 flashlight, in my opinion. Comes in just your basic generic boxing. It has the lanyard hole. I've lost the manual somehow to it, which is great. Which is kind of a bad thing on this knife, or this, I keep calling it a knife, this light, because it's so can be so complicated. But it can also just work just fine with Group 1, and for most people, that's going to be, you know, just fine. And for the money, you can't really find a brighter flashlight for $22, that's for sure. Just make sure you use a quality battery in it. Like I showed you, that little Samsungs, you can get those from you can get those from Banggood, I believe. And you can also, when you order the flashlight, make sure you get a nice Samsung or Panasonic or LG battery. I think they're definitely higher quality batteries than most of the stuff you get. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up the video on the BLF A6 from Budget Lifeform and Astrolux. Very cool light. Thanks for Banggood for sending this in to me, and we will see you on the next video.